It all started with a scream and a phone call to the cops. Our neighborhood's self-declared HOA queen, Karen, stood in the street, pointing at my wife like she'd just caught her committing a felony. What was my wife doing? Planting flowers. Yep. Literally planting marigolds near our mailbox. Nothing illegal. Nothing dramatic. Just a sunny afternoon with a trowel and some good soil. But that was all Karen needed to lose her mind. Karen stormed over, screeching about unauthorized vegetation. She claimed the flowers violated HOA regulations, even though there wasn't a single rule about flowers in the entire handbook. My wife calmly explained she'd even checked with 2 board members. Karen didn't care. She snapped pictures like some mall cop with a power complex, then yelled, "I'm calling the police for destruction of community property." I was inside, watching it unfold through the window. I grabbed my phone and hit record, just in case. Minutes later, 2 officers pulled up. My wife stepped back, polite and cooperative, while Karen practically threw herself into the officer's arms like she was reporting a murder. One of the cops walked over and asked what was going on. My wife simply said, "I was planting flowers. That woman's not even on the board anymore." And that's when it clicked. Karen was no longer part of the HOA. She had been voted off the board 2 months ago for harassing neighbors and abusing her power. But she kept pretending she still ran the show, walking around with a clipboard and barking orders like she was still queen of the cul-de-sac. While the officers were talking to both women, our actual HOA president, Mr. Reyes, drove by and stopped. He saw the flashing lights and immediately walked over to ask what was going on. The moment Karen opened her mouth, Mr. Reyes shook his head and said, "Officers, this woman has been trespassing on HOA grounds. She doesn't live here anymore. Her lease expired last week, and her eviction was finalized this morning." Wait, what? Karen didn't live here anymore. Turns out, she'd been renting her place. And after months of complaints from neighbors, the landlord had finally had enough and terminated her lease. Karen had refused to leave, and now the cops she called on my wife were there to escort her off the property. Within 20 minutes, Karen was evicted from the neighborhood she tried to rule. Her screams echoed down the street as she was forced to pack up the last of her things, while my wife quietly finished planting her marigolds, now looking more beautiful than ever. Moral of the story? If you're going to fake power, don't forget who actually owns the keys. Because karma? Sometimes it shows up in a police cruiser.